Yeah, yo, 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 it's Ugly Truck Driver. How the flock are you? Well, today is Monday morning, 28th of July. Watching on the news. Our wonderful world of the Congress of the United States is all set to go on vacation August 1st for 5 weeks. The problem is they ain't doing their jobs. They're still bickering and arguing and fighting amongst themselves. We have issues like veterans health care, veterans benefits, and everything else that's going to be left for the next session. We have issues like Israel being attacked by Hamas. It's going to be left for the next session. We have border issues, which is going to be left for the next session. I swear in the name of God Almighty, in all my years of following politics, this is probably the most mismanaged, screwed up Congress I have ever seen in my life, not to mention the two geniuses that occupy the White House. I keep asking myself, are people this stupid, deaf, dumb, and blind to put up with this? They won't write their congressman or call their congressman or their senators and saying, hey, you know what? This needs to get handled now. With the VA, they've got a new head since Shinseki was fired. And they were supposed to give him the authority to go in there and clean house in this screwed up bureaucracy that we call the Veterans Administration, and give him the power to fire anybody and everybody at will. We have our government giving $44 million to the government of Gaza. Unfortunately, the government of Gaza is now Hamas, a terrorist organization, who is backed by the likes of Qatar, or Qatar, however you pronounce it, being resupplied by Iran with their missiles, and we're giving away millions of dollars to a terrorist organization. And while Gaza and Hamas are throwing 2,000 missiles into Israel, and thank God for Israel's Iron Dome because it's catching a lot of them, Israel's responding with a ground invasion to take Hamas out, find their tunnels and all that, find their places where they hide their weapons and destroy them. And unfortunately, and I do mean unfortunately, some civilians are killed. Why? Because this terrorist organization, Hamas, uses their civilians as shields. And they'll sacrifice them and they don't care. And I'll tell you how screwed up this terrorist organization is in Gaza. The average person that lives in Gaza has an annual income of $2,000 to $3,000. They're starving to death. And yet over in Israel, the average Israeli has an income of around $30,000. Why? Because Israel takes care of stuff, builds stuff, and everything else. Hamas, if it had its way, which I still think mentally is their attitude, is still in the Stone Ages. That's the religion of Islam. 1,300 years of terrorism. We are being inundated on our southern border by illegal aliens, and I don't care what age they are. They come across the border and they don't have papers and all that. They're illegal. And that goes from San Diego, California to Brownsville, Texas. And what's our government do? Oh, we can't send them back. We have to take care of them. We have to do this and abide by this law and that law. That's that dream law that Obama signed. We've been fighting about this law on immigration for years and years. The original deal about 8 years back is build the fence. Well, the fence they've got built so far, supposedly 700 miles long. I just watched a video on YouTube where a guy went up in an airplane, and I know the area. It's called Bisbee, Arizona. I used to live not too far from it in Cochise, Arizona. Used to fly in and out of Bisbee. And there are miles and miles and miles of mountains and hills and everything else that have absolutely no fence whatsoever. And yet our Border Patrol agents, the rest of them, ICE, federal officers are on highways as much as 100 miles away from the border, stopping and searching vehicles, violating Fourth Amendment rights of good, honest American citizens. You can find it. It's in the news. It's on YouTube. Interstate highways, local highways. Boom, they throw up a roadblock. They want to stop you, search your car, and question you and everything else. Hello. It's already been proven. It's against Fourth Amendment rights. But see, somewhere some liberal judge changed it around a little bit that if an officer of the law down there has a suspicion about you, that nullifies your Fourth Amendment rights. In the meantime, these coyotes, these drug cartels, drug runners, are sitting there flooding the border with all these illegal aliens, from little kids into teenagers, which are part of the violent gangs of Central America, MS-13, and we have to treat them with kid gloves. Now, these are just 3 of the items that come to mind to me before our Congress goes on vacation in 4 days or 5 days and bugs out for 5 weeks and supposedly goes home to their home districts. And I don't care if they're Republican, Democrat, or Independent. They're all a bunch of political, hype, pooped, brained, idiot, politically correct, bought off by PAC groups and lobbyists. The only thing they care about is getting reelected and who can put what money in what pocket. These are the idiots that we, the American public, have elected to represent us in the United States. And let's not even get on Obamacare. I mean, they've sat there and they've had court systems say, well, this part of Obamacare is illegal. And then a court right down the road from it says, oh, no, it is legal. So now what's going to happen? The 2 courts are going to have to get together and come to a decision. If not, it's going to go to the Supreme Court, where the Supreme Court, you know, those wonderful geniuses that approved Obamacare and said it was legal, have to make a decision on it. And then let's look at all the IRS investigations, the NSA investigations, all the rest of that. Our elected officials are good at talking a subject to death without doing anything. There has been nobody arrested yet, nobody convicted yet for all these scandals that we have. This transparent administration, to quote the president, there's not a smidgen of scandal in his administration. This is the president that has 11 Islamic individuals on his cabinet, and some that have direct ties to the Muslim Brotherhood in Egypt. Do you think we're getting snookered? You know, it's easy enough to sit there and say, well, comes 2014, we can make changes. And again in 2016. My question to you is, changes in what? We exchange one useless piece of political garbage for another useless piece of political garbage. Nothing's going to change. And yet I am reminded things by our founding fathers that sit there and say, when your government becomes tyrannical, takes your rights away and all that, you have a right to refuse, and if needs be, to change that government, nullify that government, make a new government. The government that I grew up in the 1950s, which was by no means perfect, at least had respect for the letter of the law. This government we have today, I don't know where it's at. Our Bill of Rights is being violated daily, especially the first 10 amendments. And then you get some of these libtards that come up with things like, well, one wants to repeal the First Amendment. Another one wants to, well, a whole bunch of them want to destroy the Second Amendment. Then you get some of these activist judges that want to destroy the Fourth Amendment and your 10th Amendment. And what do I hear? I just got thrown off of not YouTube, Facebook yesterday because I was posting all my conservative views and thoughts about what I think of our government, about what I think about what needs to be changed. And then they wanted to pull a security check on me and said that I failed it and blocked my account for 30 days. So I had to go out and get a new account because I refused to be shut up. These liberal, Nazi, socialist SOBs. I'm talking to you, Mark Zuckerberg, and all your people over there at Facebook, as well as any other social site. As soon as they find out you're conservative, Republican, patriot, whatever, they start screwing with you. I know it from personal experience. And while some people think that this guy Snowden is a traitor to the United States, he did expose things that were happening at the NSA and a bunch of other places of how our own government is spying on us day to day, hour by hour, phone calls, internet, emails. Even this video here is probably going to get looked at. I don't care at my age. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Anytime they want to come in here, sit down in my chair and see what's in my computer box, they can sit down and go through every file I've got. I don't have no bomb-making capabilities or plans or anything else like that. See, what I'd like to remind you people, okay, because most of you are just dumber than shit. This is called my pocket edition of the Constitution of the United States. It's got all the articles in there. It's got all your Bill of Rights in there. I carry it in my back pocket. Why? Because there's so many idiots out there that don't know what's going on. You run into authorities, whether they're police or military, that doesn't know what's in this. And I myself will admit I don't know all of it, but I carry it with me just in case. Do you ever notice the bulk of the people that we've got in Congress, even down to your state and local governments, they're all lawyers? Who better to learn how to avoid the law, break the law, bend the law, get around the law? I don't know, I'm just asking. But the bulk of them are. And we keep electing these idiots. I promise you, our founding fathers are turning over in their graves watching what's going on here in the world today, especially here in the United States. I can't change it as one person. I can talk about it. I can share with you about it. And trust me, I do worry, because I know for a fact the government has already asked the Pentagon and the generals over there, if we gave you the order, would you shoot American citizens in a time of war, anarchy, or whatever else? And there's been 12 or 14 of them that sat there and said, nah, that's not happening. And all of a sudden they're retired, or some scandal cropped up on them or something like that, and they had to retire. Yeah. This is the system we're under. You know, I've told you before, I read the book when I was 17 years old, George Orwell's 1984. It's here, folks. It's here, bigger than crap. Remember when we had the Duck Dynasty incident on A&E a while back? Well, while everybody was all worried about Duck Dynasty and Phil Roberts getting his job back, our Congress had a thing called the NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act, that had a sunset date at the same time. And at a midnight hour, when everybody's watching Duck Dynasty, they repassed it and made it bigger and tougher. Posse Comitatus is basically eviscerated, and they're doing a good job of eviscerating your rights under the Constitution of the United States. And then we have these star chamber courts where a federal agent can walk in your house, arrest you, put you in jail. You have no right to a lawyer. You can't defend yourself in court because there is basically no court. It's a kangaroo court. And you may just disappear the rest of your life. It's here. I've watched it for a few years. I hear guys like Glenn Beck, Rush Limbaugh, Alex Jones, Michael Savage, what's his name, Mark Levin, talk about how screwed up our government is. 15 years ago, I'd have told you you were crazier than batshit. It's here, folks. So while all of you are enjoying the last week of July on your vacations, your barbecues, and all that, and all this stuff is hanging fire, it's unfinished, it's left. In the meantime, we got veterans that are not getting treatment. Whole bunch of other things. Congress is going on vacation. You know, they gripe about Obama taking his vacation and golfing and fundraising. We're in a crisis here right now. And what's happening? Congress is taking a vacation for 5 weeks. But see, the liberal media makes no big deal about it. They bury stuff like this. They don't want you to know. They want to keep you ignorant, kowtowed, everything else. But like I say, I'm just a dumb truck driver. What can I know? Just a few facts is all. Later.